We're back for part 2. I'm so sad that I need a part 2. On the plus side, I just had the thought that when I did this last year, I had like 10 minutes of false starts trying to like jazz myself up to just do this. And this year I'm just go. So I feel like that's some personal podcaster growth, that I can just make the content and be good with it. So good job, me. I can't finish anything, but let's have some personal growth. Okay, so last time we went through everything that was not in the bin, and then the stuff that was sitting on top of the bin. So now we're digging into the depths of the bin, where I don't know what anything is, and it comes in bigger bags, so it should theoretically be more exciting. Probably. In giant canvas bag number 1... Oh, it's the Stephen West knit-along from last year, I think. Yes. I don't remember what this one was called. But again, I finished Clue 1, and that's as far as I got. We don't want to see the microphone stand in here. So this is out of Yet More Fireweed Fiber Co. yarn. And this is yet another thing that I want to finish. I think I keep starting these shiny things when I'm not in a place of counting and focus. And I think that's why they get put aside for other things that don't require counting and focus. This microphone stand is really determined to make an appearance today. How about that? No, that's still in the frame. Okay. That's cool. It's fine. We'll fix it in post. No, I won't. I know me. It'd be a miracle if I edited anything. Anyway, I've got a lovely bunch of unlabeled Fireweed Fiber Co. in here. There's a very pretty purple. And there's a very pretty, I think this one's Forget-Me-Not or some variation thereon. Oh, there's a... Nope, that's not a whole other pair of needles. Do not pull those out of the yarn. That's very, very important. It's very important. There's some lovely gray. There's some lovely lavender with purple flecks. And there's some lovely teal. I think this one might be Harvest Night. I don't know. I also did not label these, so I do not know which one is color A, B, C, D, E. When I do eventually pick this up again, I'm going to have to look very carefully through all of this and compare it to the pattern and figure out what I was using where. So go me. Oh, and this is on ChowGoo needles too. Man, I really want... I want those needles back. Really want those needles back. So that's another thing that I am not gonna frog. In this giant bag that may once have been a pillowcase, I honestly do not know. There's a paper pattern. Oh, which means this is probably my most restarted WIP. This has been in my WIP pile. I think this one actually is since 2014, not 2012 like the other ones, or like the Contours mitts from last time. This is it's a lace shawl, Game of Thrones themed, back when Game of Thrones was cool before it sucked in the last few seasons. This is the Stormborn shawl. This is the first time I tried to do a mystery knit along, and it was lace, and I was not ready for that. So it languished in my WIP pile for several years, at which point I decided I still want this, but my gauge is going to be entirely different now, so I ripped it back and started again. And I got this far. Again, I think because I keep starting things when I'm not in counting places. So, let's get focus on there. There we go. Obviously this knit is not a mystery anymore, so I've seen the finished thing and it ends up looking kind of like dragon scales, which, you know, Stormborn shawl, that makes sense. And I think it has a like a pointy edging, so it's kind of dragon wing shaped with a dragon scale lace pattern. Still want it. I even bought the yarn that was meant to go with this. I never buy the yarn that the pattern calls for. I bought the yarn that the pattern calls for. It's still here in a skein. I'm sure this color is discontinued now. May 2014, Fire and Blood. I was right, it is 2014. Shepherd sock from Lorna's Laces. Exclusively at Jimmy Bean's Wool. May 2014, Fire and Blood. But it's so pretty, and it's gonna be a shawl. I'm gonna get my shawl. I'm not gonna restart it again, because I might think my gauge is stabilized at this point in my life, in my knitting career. Oh, there we go, we're inhaling fiber. Oh, it's a real podcast now. Paper pattern. I went digital years ago, and this still has a paper pattern. Okay, another thing that I am not gonna frog. I was really hoping I'd look through this and be like, you know what, I actually don't want that anymore. Let me reclaim the yarn and needles. No. Okay, this one I am gonna frog. And use the yarn for exactly something else. This is the Safe Spaces... Wow, I'm really trying hard to eat the fiber here. This is the Safe Space blanket, I think was the pattern. Oh my god. Nah. And it's just a series of little hexagon tiles, and the hexagons are too thinky for me. So I'm going to rip this back and make a jelly roll blanket. Whether it is a blanket, I might do it in, I'm thinking actually I'm going to do it in scarf dimensions, so it's going to be like really long, probably like 5 or 6 feet long, but then it'll only be a few strips wide, so that it's an enormous long scarf. But yeah, this yarn is going to become a jelly roll of some dimensions. But all the yarn is still going to stay in here, and the needles are still going to stay in here. So just an example of some of the yarn. I believe I pulled out all of the cool colored minis that I got from when we did the Advent minis a couple years ago. So I've got greens, blues, browns, teals, grays, a couple of warmer yellows. Some of them are unraveling. That's gonna be fun to untangle later. Awesome. Another nice green. Oh, this is a very pretty blue. So. This is getting frogged, but the yarn is already claimed for a future project in my head, so I'm not going to frog it right now. It's in, because it's got everything it needs for its next life. Okay. Stephen West totes. West knits are the best knits. This is the Mohairino medley. Another one that is just slightly thinkier than I want it to be, so I haven't been working on it. But this is the kit that I got at Stephen and Penelope in Amsterdam on my honeymoon in 2019. So nice, I had to buy it twice, because our bags got stolen. And it happens to be the bag that... I was looking for needles. There's no needles. I took the needles back for something. It's on waste yarn. But the bags got stolen, along with the bag that had my kit the first time. So this is the second kit that I bought. Yay! So, again, still want this. It'll get done. One day, maybe. I think Jocelyn was offering to knit this for me because she wants to work on it, but she doesn't want to have a mohair thing at the end. She wants to do the knit, she doesn't want the things, so this might come with me in January and go live with Jocelyn for a while. And then it can just come home as a nice, pretty thing that I didn't have to make. But it's not getting frogged. Ah, in this deceptively small space bag, I have a whole sweater. It's another Stephen West sweater. It is the Garter Marlar sweater. This one was indeed suitably brainless. I just had deadlines. There was deadline knitting to be done for knit-alongs and now Christmas. So I do still, in fact, want this. I think I'm calling this one my Very Berry one. I picked all of my pinks and purples, and then I had this skein of gray with pink and purple speckle. So the cuffs are going to be just this one color, because it's yarn held double, so because it's marled, right? And then everything else is just pinks and purples held together. Oh, and grays apparently. Held together somewhat at random to get a nice relaxed fit scrappy sweater. So. Yeah, there's a gray in there, and then there's, oh god, I packed this in real tight. I'm not going to pull all of these out, but there's like a really intense purple. That's one of the colors I'm using right now. There's this lovely, oh, this is like red on camera practically, but there's this nice berry color. Yeah, similar vein. So, yet another thing that I am not going to frog, that I'm totally going to finish. I need to stop being a magpie and going on to the next shiny thing before I finish things. To that end, I am challenging myself in the new year to not cast on so damn many things and actually finish some things. So I'd had the ridiculous idea that I was not going to allow myself to cast anything on except vanilla socks until the whip bin was empty. But I think we all know that that's an unmanageable goal. So I'm going with can't cast anything on except vanilla socks until the whips are level with the top of the bin. Whips must be level with the top of the bin before I cast on something new. Which I think is actually going to be pretty close to the... That might also still be too ridiculous, so it might have to be like a finish 2, start 1 kind of deal. We'll see. We'll see. I have to figure out how to, like, get myself into a finishing spot. Not a casting on everything new all the time spot. Anyway, point being, goal for 2023, more finishes, less starts. Maybe not less starts, but more finishes. More finishes. Okay. Another tote bag. What is in this one? It used to contain my flax sweater, but I finished that a couple years ago. Oh, that's what this is. This is my Fossil Frenzy. I was so annoyed at myself for not finishing it on time that I stuffed it away and forgot about it. Right, yes, I got through the boring part where it really is just roundy. And I stopped just as I got into the fun part. The colorwork's just starting. I'm just starting to get into all the fun dinosaur bones. And that's where I stopped. Well, that's great. Go me. It's a dinosaur sweater. Obviously I'm not frogging this. Obviously still gonna finish this. This is some yarn that I got in Vancouver when I was there. I will keep saying it. It is slightly sparkly. Not that you can tell. Oh, come on, computer. Come on, screens. Come on, screens. It's not going to sleep. The screens are just like, you're not doing anything. And then turning off on me. And like, no, I need to see what I'm doing, thank you. And also, you're my light. I just love this yarn. It's so pretty. I think it was called like pumpkin spice or pumpkin pie or something. Anyway, So that's another thing that is not getting frogged, that will get finished one day. I'm actually genuinely surprised by how many things are not still here from last year. It's really just, I think it's just the Stephen West shawls and my Stormborn shawl. They're still kicking around from last year. Okay, we're at the bottom of the bin. This is the last thing in the bin. What is, oh yeah, this is still kicking around from a couple years ago. Jocelyn designs patterns. I knit them very slowly. Do you remember how, like, probably nearly 2 years ago at this point, she released the King's Flame pattern? This is as far as I ever got on that. It was these darn little button things. These little button textured things. They look so cool. They're such a pain in the butt to do. And I just burnt out on the button things right as the button things section ends, and you don't have to do so dang many button things. You get into a lace section next, I think. And I was disgusted after all the buttons, and so I put it down. And I just haven't picked it up in like over a year. I'm pretty certain this is still hanging around. This was on last year's State of the Whip as well. Anyway, if you would like to knit this pattern, you can find it on Jocelyn's Etsy, I think. I should know these things. I don't know these things. Do I have ball bands in here? Is going to be the great... Oh, I still have a full skein in here with the ball band attached. Look at me go. Oh, right. This is Malabrigo, the Makita base, in the colorway Diana. Which is why I got 2 of these when I found them on sale, because it had my name on it. So that knits up into this with a little bit of black to offset the lace bits, because I think the lace would get lost in this kind of busy yarn. That's sort of a problem with the Stormborn shawl. The yarn is so busy that the lace gets a little bit lost in it, and I think that bothered me and made me lose motivation for it multiple times now. But that is where that's at. I do still like it. I have no particular desire to frog it, so we're only frogging one thing, and I already knew that going in. I remembered that it was there. That is everything. I hope that was entertaining for you. It was eye-opening for me. I'm going to unceremoniously stuff everything back in the bin and not look at it until after Christmas. Speaking of which, I guess it's Christmas in a couple days when this goes up, so Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Merry, happy, whatever it is you celebrate. I hope it's happy and merry and cozy and full of wool and your hot beverage of choice. The end.